Good morning, everyone, and I'm extremely touched by the warmth of your welcome this morning. And it does give me great pleasure to welcome you all to London today. London is, of course, the capital city of the United Kingdom, but also the base, our headquarters, as many of you know, is in Denham, just outside London. And London is where the 2012 Olympic Games are being hosted in 6 months' time. And again, Holiday Inn, our biggest brand, is an official sponsor. Over a long career, I have been privileged to address a number of august gatherings across a number of industries, and the International Clé d'Or this morning is certainly one such body. Reading about the characteristics of Les Clefs d'Or on your official website, I note that you are all pleasant, courteous, and welcoming in appearance, and that you remain calm. I can't think of any other audience which I've experienced who are almost guaranteed to be so well behaved. And I'm somewhat tempted to test you. Last autumn, Robert Watson, your recently retired international president, did me the great honour of presenting me with an honorary diploma of membership of Les Clefs d'Or. The framed certificate is on my office wall in Denham. I therefore feel very much at home with you all. Robert also took the opportunity to invite me to be the keynote speaker this morning, and I'm very much in his debt. So too I'm in debt to Ron Crowdy, our British president, who along with Robert has briefed me on your conference. When I reflect on your keynote speaker last year, Isidore Sharp, the founder of Four Seasons Hotels, I'm bound to confess to a measure of discomfort. Unlike him, I can lay no great claim to be a dyed-in-the-wool hotelier, spending a lifetime in the industry. By contrast, my long career over more than 45 years has taken me in a number of rather different directions. As it happens, only 8 years have been spent in our industry. Back to my career, it all began with a law degree followed by a year training as an accountant, before reverting to law and qualifying as a solicitor. I then aspired to enter the world of finance, and I joined the rarefied atmosphere of Samuel Montague, an old established City of London merchant bank. Gold bullion, tons of it I remember, wrapped in old newspapers lay in the vaults. I should say that in those far-off days, banking, particularly merchant banking, was highly respectable. Aged 24, morning coffee and afternoon tea was served at my desk by a liveried butler, something I have never experienced as chairman of IHG. It was a very formal world of three-piece suits, dark navy or pinstripe, braces or suspenders, a detachable stiff white collar attached to white shirts with vertical dark blue stripes, dark blue polka dot ties, and the de rigueur, highly polished black shoes with the all-important laces. It was not unlike your own world. Merchant banking, now known as investment banking, took me into the world of corporate finance and the excitement of corporate mergers and takeovers. My experience with deals spurred my next move 4 years later when I was invited to join two fellow Scots in investing in and building up through acquisition a listed company called Oriel Foods. All too soon, we were approached by a conglomerate, RCA Corporation, Radio Corporation of America, then one of America's largest businesses, and in 1974 they acquired us. 3 years later, by 1977, having experienced all the frustrations of working for a giant US conglomerate, though it was a good experience, the three of us left. We founded, with our own money, a new company which, after our Scottish origins, we called the Argyll Group. Again, our focus was on food and drink, and in our early years we grew largely through acquisition. At that time, we little imagined just how big eventually we were to become. In 1985, we launched, in today's money, an $18 billion hostile bid for distillers, the owner of Johnny Walker, Gordon's Gin, Dewar's and Tanqueray. But we lost out to a competing offer by Guinness, which is now called Diageo. In order to win, Guinness manipulated its share price, creating probably the biggest financial scandal ever seen in the City of London. A number of people, including Guinness's CEO, were sent to prison. Shortly afterwards, we bought the UK business of Safeway, from the US food retailer, and we renamed Argyll Safeway. At its peak, Argyll was the 29th biggest company in the London Stock Exchange of top 100 companies. And for 7 years, I was chairman of Safeway before its sale in 2004. After listening to a rather potted version of my career, my credentials for being with you this morning, other than simply chairman of IHG, must by now be in serious doubt. But I can at least claim very tentatively to some modest industry experience. Aside from my 8 years service part-time with the Royal Naval Reserve, my first paid job was in a hotel, a summer job before university. I was 17. I well remember my pay. It was £7 a week. The hotel was in Scotland, the Cali Hotel in Galloway, known locally with affection as the Cali Pally. It had formerly been a stately home, and certainly it had seen better times. In their undoubted wisdom, management judged me not to be sufficiently presentable for guests, and I was therefore placed firmly behind the green baize door. Initially, I operated a dishwashing machine in company with what then seemed a very ancient and rather unsavoury man, who was undoubtedly considerably younger than I am now. After several weeks of delivering up sparkling plates and cutlery, I was promoted, or should I say, I was transferred to operate and also to clean and polish the gleaming stainless steel tea and coffee machine. Fortunately, this gave me a ringside seat and view of my fellow student waitresses, barging in and out of the separate serving doors to the dining room. Better still was the continual sight of one very petite and particularly attractive waitress, on whom the head chef regularly exercised the culinary equivalent of the gloire de seigneur by lifting her up by her slim waist and depositing her on one of the several hot plates. At least he first ensured that the lid was firmly down. Somehow or other, she later became pregnant. And I was never quite sure whether this was in any way connected with our hot plate treatment. The Cali Hotel was, I'm afraid, my only experience of working in a hotel. My other experience of our great industry was as an investor. Aside from the Argyle Group, my two business associates and I had a number of other business interests. These included a 10% shareholding in Manchester United, an ownership of a rather splendid West End wine merchants established in 1810 and located only a quarter of a mile from here. But more to the point, our business interests also included ownership of a number of hotels in the Thames Valley outside London. In all, we had 6 hotels. One, the Swan at Streatley on Thames, was the most prestigious. It came with 26 acres and a third of a mile of frontage to the River Thames. And we even purchased the Magdalen College Oxford barge, which we moored in front of the hotel and used for small functions. At the other end of the scale, we owned a 40-bedroom motel, which we enlarged to 60 rooms. And I soon learned that the trading returns of the motel were far more attractive than the upscale Swan, but when we eventually sold up, the big capital gain was from the Swan. These were truly modest beginnings in our sector, and they still beg the question, how just did I become chairman of IHG? Well, I was approached by a search company in late 2002 and asked if I would be interested in succeeding Cyrian Prosser as chairman of IHG following its separation from 6 continents. I was. The industry has always had great appeal for me. Aside from chairing the board of Safeway for 7 years, I'd also served as a non-executive director on the board of Reed Elsevier, the international publisher and information provider, and for a period as chairman. So, in April 2003, I joined the board of IHG as a non-executive director and succeeded Cyrian as chairman in January 2004. The past 8 years have proved as interesting and enjoyable as any other period in my working life. They've also proved eventful in the life of IHG. IHG is the product of a diversification strategy into hotels pursued by Britain's then biggest brewer, Bass, which began almost 25 years ago in 1988. Bass acquired Holiday Inn International in 1988 and the remaining North American business of Holiday Inn in 1990. This gave Bass the mid-scale Holiday Inn and the upscale Crown Plaza brands and a leadership position in the mid-scale segment in the United States. The limited service brand Holiday Inn Express was launched in 1991. 7 years later, in 1997, Bass entered the upscale extended stay market with Staybridge Suites. The following year, 1998, Intercontinental Hotels was purchased. Subsequently, the Australian-based Southern Pacific Hotels was acquired in 2000, with some 60 hotels in Australia, New Zealand, and the South Pacific, and the US Bristol Hotels with its 112 hotels shortly afterwards. And the following year, 79 mid-scale post house hotels in the UK were bought. Through these significant acquisitions, Bass, now renamed 6 Continents, have built a strong branded international hotel group with hotels in more countries around the world than any other hotel group. In early 2003, with almost 515,000 rooms and 3,300 hotels in nearly 100 countries, IHG was the most global hotel group with an unmatched presence in the world markets. This was the hotel business that separated from 6 Continents in April 2003, and which began life as an independent hotel group listed on the London and New York stock exchanges. The past 8 years have seen considerable and highly positive change in the fortunes of IHG. Our strategy was designed to increase substantially the growth of our business and also the quality of that growth by making our company and our brands more attractive to both hotel guests and hotel owners. Let me tell you about some of the things that we have been doing. First of all, we decided to step back from hotel ownership and to focus on our expertise in franchising and managing our leading hotel brands. Essentially, we pursued an asset-light strategy as we sought selectively to divest the bulk of the nearly 200 hotels which we owned across the world. It meant that IHG's future growth would be achieved predominantly through franchising and managing hotels rather than owning them. Over the 5-year period 2003 to 2007, we sold a total of 181 hotels and other non-hotel assets with proceeds of more than $5.6 billion in cash. With few exceptions, we retained the flags of the hotels which we sold within our brand family under long-term management contracts. We now have only 12 owned or leased hotels, and these comprise principally the Intercontinental hotels in Paris, London, Hong Kong, and New York. Our asset-light franchised and managed business model means that we are now much less exposed to the hotel business cycle. Last year, 87% of our earnings were derived from franchised and managed operations, and the balance from our owned hotels. We transformed, therefore, IHG from a cyclical, low-growth business with high capital intensity to a high-growth business generating more predictable cash flows and a high return on capital employed. I'm just looking for a glass.
Yes, it's on the way. Just on the way.
The cash released by the sale of our hotels has largely been returned to our shareholders. Almost $6 billion, thank you very much. Almost $6 billion has gone back to them through a combination of special dividends, share repurchases, and a capital repayment. I'm just back from Antigua, in fact, and the sort of transition from the climate of Antigua to the rather different climate of London has left me with a bit of a frog, if not several frogs in my throat. Another thing we worked on was building on our scale. Scale brings buying power, brand awareness, and more funds to spend behind our brands. To drive scale, we set an ambitious target for rooms growth. In April 2003, we had just over 500,000 rooms, represented by 3,300 hotels. Almost 80% of these rooms were Holiday Inns or Holiday Inn Expresses, whilst Holiday Inn Express, our limited services brand, was growing strongly through new openings. Holiday Inn's new openings were more than eclipsed by Holiday Inn closures, as long-standing quality issues with the estate were addressed. Also, in 2003, our pipeline of new hotel rooms stood at 71,000 rooms, but we weren't growing. In 2004, our net room count went down. In 2005, it grew by only 3,000 rooms. I think perhaps I should go back to Antigua. In September 2005, therefore, we unveiled to shareholders a truly ambitious 3-year plan for growth, targeting a total of 50 to 60,000 net new rooms, net of closures by the end of 2008. Achieving this meant a tripling of the rooms growth rate we had managed over the previous 5 years. Happily, by the close of 2008, we'd exceeded our target of adding 50 to 60,000 net rooms in 3 years by some margin. We actually added over 80,000 rooms. Today, we have more than 4,500 hotels, up from 3,300 in 2003, and our room count has grown by 30%, from 515,000 rooms to over 660,000, making IHG the largest hotel group measured by number of rooms. Also, our pipeline has more than doubled and stands at more than 183,000 rooms, compared with 67,000 in 2003. Again, this is the industry's biggest pipeline. A further point of focus over the past few years has been our operating system. Our brands may be the cutting edge of our business, but our delivery system is the foundation on which they sit. It is the engine which delivers the demand for room nights into our hotels. Much of IHG's system power resides in the scale of its marketing firepower. This year, we will have well over $1 billion at our disposal to win a greater share of industry demand. These funds come from annual assessments we make on the 4,500 hotels that carry our brands around the world. In 2010, the IHG system delivered 68% of total revenues in our hotels. Back in 2005, it was 53%. Our operating system is one of our major selling points to persuade owners to sign up with IHG, and our strategy is to continue to drive up its power and performance. Our loyalty program, Priority Club Rewards, or PCR, is a key component of the system. Loyalty programs have a major influence on the hotel purchase decision, and in 2010, PCR members accounted for 42% of our total rooms revenue, up 11 points on 2005. PCR members are our most valuable customers. They stay with us more often and they stay for longer than non-members, so a priority for us is to increase the number of members we have. Total PCR membership is now over 63 million. That is not far short of the population of Britain, and by far the largest in the industry. And we add some 600,000 new members every month. Already more than 1 million PCR members are in China and growing fast. Priority Club Rewards is widely recognized as the most flexible loyalty program in the industry and has been voted Best Hotel Rewards Program at the Global Traveller Awards for 7 years running. In addition to our loyalty program, we're delivering an increasing proportion of our revenues through IHG's reservation channels. We have an 8,000 strong global sales force centred across the world, reservation systems with 10 call centres covering 12 languages, and a powerful web presence with 11 local language websites. And amongst our fastest growing booking channels after mobiles is the web, which is also the cheapest, benefiting both us and our owners. The highest return on our marketing investment comes from money we spend with online marketing on key word placement on search engines such as Google. Today, if you were to search Google for hotels in London, you would find over 77 million entries. But 80% of web users only look at the first page. So if your hotel is not going to be invisible, you have to get yourself on that first page. One of our biggest programs has been the revitalization of our principal brand, Holiday Inn. Holiday Inn, the world's best known and most stayed-in hotel brand, has been an icon of the lodging industry for more than 55 years. But in recent times, the brand was held back by its variable product quality and a tired image. Between 2004 and 2010, we removed some 1,200 Holiday Inns from our system, and we replaced those with more than 1,500 first-rate new ones. We encouraged our hotel owners to invest over $1 billion to bring the remainder of the Holiday Inn estate up to the mark, and we achieved this despite the downturn in 2008. By the end of last year, the average age of our Holiday Inn estate was down to around 10 years. And with more than 700 Holiday Inns and Holiday Inn Expresses in our pipeline, the majority of which are new build, the estate will continue to get younger as we move forward. And our Holiday Inns are getting bigger. We have a Holiday Inn under construction in Moscow with more than 1,000 rooms, and also one in Macau with more than 1,200 rooms. The Holiday Inn brand relaunch continues to deliver great results for both IHG and our owners. It has driven impressive brand awareness, customer satisfaction, employee pride, as well as superior RevPAR. Holiday Inn in the US was recently named the 2011 J.D. Power Award winner for Best Guest Satisfaction in the mid-scale full-service category. This is a coveted award and demonstrates the great success of the brand relaunch. And now, with the successful relaunch of Holiday Inn behind us, we're turning our focus onto our upscale brand, Crowne Plaza. In under 30 years, Crowne Plaza has grown to become the fourth biggest upscale brand in the world, with revenues of $3.5 billion, a global distribution of just over 400 hotels, and a pipeline of more than 100 hotels, 51 of which are in Greater China. In many parts of the world, Crowne Plaza is the fastest growing upscale brand, most notably in Asia, where in 5 years it has more than doubled its hotel count and increased the size of its pipeline almost threefold. 52 Crowne Plazas are open in China, aside from the further 51 due to open over the next 3 years. Crowne Plaza is a powerful and successful brand, but we know we have a great opportunity to drive its performance harder, and we're finalizing a program to make this happen. Our experience with the Holiday Inn owners show we can get this right and deliver tremendous value. Let me now talk briefly about Greater China, which has become our second biggest market. IHG is the largest international hotel company in Greater China, and we were the first international hotel company to enter China in 1984. We've been operating there for 27 years. We have almost 41,000 employees in Greater China and plan to recruit nearly 124,000 people over the next 5 years. To combat the war for talent there, we have even launched more than a dozen IHG academies to provide hospitality training. China is expected to overtake America as the largest hotel market in the world by 2025. In total, we have 160 hotels open in 44 cities and 143 in our development pipeline. 26 of our hotels are in Shanghai. Half the 160 hotels which we have open are Holiday Inns or Holiday Inn Expresses, and the other half are Crowne Plazas or Intercontinentals. And we expect to have more than 300 hotels operating in China in 5 years' time, reinforcing our leadership in the region. We also have 2 new, exciting hotel brands. at an advanced stage of development. One is an upscale China-centric brand to win the rapidly growing high-income group there, and promoting the brand to other parts of the world to attract the increasing number of outbound Chinese travellers. And our other new brand is in the mid-scale segment in the US. More news of the launch of these two new brands is very imminent. One of IHG's competitive advantages has been and will always be our people. I don't need to tell you the hotel business is a business of people taking care of people. And over recent years, we've worked hard at capturing and driving our people's ability to bring our hotel brands to life at hotel level. It is our people who give our guests unique experiences, bringing the brand to life in a memorable way that engages guests and keeps them loyal. How do you make sure everyone in your hotel can do this? At IHG, we've found a way through our people tools approach. We're making sure hotels have what they need to recruit, train, reward, and recognise talented people, people who have the ability to make a genuine difference in a guest's stay. This helps our hotels deliver a consistent service to guests wherever they stay with us around the world. And consistency is the secret to all great brands. Our people are our brands, and they give our guests a reason to stay with us again and again. IHG's focus on developing our people has been recognised this year by Fortune magazine, where IHG is listed as one of the 100 best companies to work for in America. Do you live an intercontinental life? That's what we ask our guests at our hotels, and part of that life is being in the know. The way we deliver on this unique promise from our Intercontinental Hotel brand is through our great team of concierges working around the globe. It's how we're different from other upscale hotel brands. A great concierge needs to show a genuine interest in a guest. Our well-travelled guests want to know what's special about their destination, and by sharing their in-the-know knowledge, an intercontinental concierge gives visitors authentic experiences. No one is better placed to do this than the hotel concierge. As the world's most international hotel brand, guests trust Intercontinental to deliver this service as they move from place to place. All of this is recognition of the key and critical role of our concierge teams. Yours is a remarkable calling. You are at the very heart of all great and successful hotels. Your guests' unfailing confidence in your ability to provide for their every need, however obscure and however urgent, is rarely misplaced. I'm conscious that over the years you must accumulate a treasure trove of stories and experiences. Certainly the several books I've looked at about the life of a concierge gives ample evidence of this. And I am delighted to be, albeit on an honorary basis, part of your elite body. It has been a real privilege to have the opportunity this morning to address you all. As I'm sure you have sensed, it is also an extraordinary privilege for me to chair IHG. My travels around the world have taken me to places I suspect I would not otherwise have visited, and exposed me to some memorable experiences. Meeting the President of Mexico a few years ago, I only really got his attention when I told him that every year our hotels slept more than the population of Mexico. A look of surprise registered on